Welcome to the bold analysis. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know why politicians have fancied this narrative that on August 8th there is going to be election rigging. A day after Kenya Kwanza team, while meeting a host of election observers from Europe, opined that 1 million voters had been deleted from the register. Today, there is also another information that is coming from Dr. Ekuru Aukot. The Third Way Alliance party leader, who is also a presidential candidate, is making a reference to the 2007 general election while talking about the upcoming August 9th general election. I'm one person that Kenyans should never be reminded of what happened in 2007 because of people really nasty injuries. However, there seems to be a coordinated effort by political players to push this narrative that this election is going to be rigged. Now, what has surprised many people is that unlike in the past general elections, when Raila Odinga was complaining about IBC and a bit of election reforms, this time round he's been so quiet and silent about these issues. And his silence is something that has been disturbing political competitors. Today in the morning, there is a tweet that has come from Dr. Ekuru Aukot. Watu wangu, in December 2007, and the tact Raila Odinga won the vote, but someone else was declared and sworn in as president. A little bird tells me that in August 9th, 2022, someone will win the vote, but someone else will be declared and sworn in as the president. Mark this tweet. I think it's different because this time around we are in a new constitutional dispensation. In 2007, there was to be opposition politics that wanted to seize power from an incumbent. But now, the incumbent is also going. And while this question points to the preparation of IBC in this election, but there is a fundamental question on transition. And I think Kenyans to make informed decision. It will not. They don't care the transition, but for them they are looking at who is going to be the next president. Now, painting a perception that this transition is going to experience some friction is something that perhaps might not be healthy as we head towards this election. I have some 4 questions I want to ask Dr. Ekuru Aukot in light of this allegation, because he said that is Alibad, so somebody is telling him. Now, who is leaking this information and who wants to do this? There are 4 questions that I want to ask Dr. Ekuru Aukot, and you can help me do that, but kindly subscribe to my channel before you look at that. The first question is, what does that message mean to Deputy President William Samoei Ruto? Because in reference to the 2007, Raila Odinga was in ODM and was opposition to Mwai Kibaki and was the key contender to Mwai Kibaki. So if you're saying that Raila was denied, and this time where Ruto is where Raila Odinga was.
And 48 constituencies did not have any documentation. The results that were announced here were just figures, computer printouts. It didn't have Form 16A, it didn't have Form 16, and therefore the figures that were announced here were just numbers assigned to candidates. And those are figures of the following constituencies. The following constituencies. That is Igembe North, Igembe South, Kandara, Ndia, Mwea, Kitutu Masaba, Madhira, Kieni, South Mugirango, Nyaribari Masaba, Bonchari, West Mugirango, North Mugirango, Webuye, Kishugu, Pomula, Kimilili, Voi, Rongai, Starehe, Kinango, Laikipia West.
Now, this is coming because the reason why I'm asking what does this mean to William Ruto is because of some few observations that have been happening in the last 2 days. One, there was a report that gained momentum in social media that perhaps President Uhuru Kenyatta had got some intelligence that Deputy President would technically resign from government on the Madaraka Day. That was there. And so even if you will not tender resignation, but you will maybe point to resignation. But there was also another one that happened, another observation that came out was a likelihood of Deputy President boycotting the general election. Now, this is a conversation that is still far-fetched because the UDA sycophants, or rather UDA supporters, really know that it's upon William Ruto to go to the wire. But the reason why the boycott narrative is now sinking is because of a decision he made not, or rather to withdraw from the presidential debate. And it is not because of withdrawal, but he mentioned that media was a bit biased in covering Kenya Kwanza campaigns and Kenya Kwanza personalities. So that's why I say, could this narrative be coming because there is an intel that has been received of William Ruto planning to boycott the elections? Or do they want, is there a plan to push him, to frustrate him to the core so that he can boycott the elections? I am asking that, and I wanted to get, not because I'm saying that he is going to be a victim, but what I'm saying is he is where Raila was in 2007 in reference to Ekuru Aukot's tweet. I have always mentioned that for this election it will be very difficult. And the last time there was a free and fair election was in 2002. 20 years down the line, we might experience another free and fair election. The deep state might be there. And I've maintained I don't know how deep is deep state. However, I appreciate that there are external forces that can influence who becomes the next president. Second question. When Ekuru Aukot, Musalia Mudavadi, and other Kenya Kwanza leaders are talking about the rigging, how would the public react to the outcome of rigging if, number one, Raila is robbed? In that, Deputy President wins the election, maybe the popular vote, because that's what Ekuru Aukot is saying. Deputy President wins the popular vote, then Raila is declared presidency. What will be the public effect? Number two is what would happen if Raila wins, but Deputy President is given the baton. Now, this is the first scenario. For Raila Odinga, the rigging narrative to his fans is monotonous. It is monotonous, and they are not going to buy it. In fact, in my analysis, I mentioned that Raila has gone through an election cycle. And what the supporters might really be looking at is that this is his moment. If Deputy President is going to be robbed, in the public, it will be a bit of friction with his fans because of raising the hopes. But I don't foresee a situation, or rather I don't envision a situation where we are going to have friction if Raila Odinga is given presidency. Neither if William Ruto is given presidency. And so the question of the public reaction is to, when people are making such wild allegations, do you foresee, what do you want Kenyans to do? Okay, fine, fine. That's what is going to happen. So what do you want Kenyans to do? That's the question. The third question, what is the impact of this narrative on election process? Election is a process. Now, the voters register is at KMPG. it's going through audit. After audit, the public register will be gazetted on 4th. I think that will be on June. It will be made public. Then after that, it's supposed to be taken to the polling stations, I think 1 month to the election date. The personnel, what is the impact of this narrative on motivation of election personnel? A returning officer sitting somewhere, and with politicians saying that, okay, this election is just a formality, we're going to vote, someone is going to win, but the president is going to go to someone else. What does that put to the motivation of the personnel? And number two, where does that put the IBC preparedness to this election? Because there are some, maybe the audit of the election infrastructure still going on. There is a lot of stuff that is being put into place. A lot of the work, the software work and the hardware work that is being put in place. Now, when all these are going on, people are being employed to work as presiding officers, and everyone is then. But then political players who should then protect the integrity of the process are already saying this is going to happen, this is going to be this way. Really? Are we not even messing with the election itself? The allegation of rigging is not new. At some point, Sabina Chege confirmed that, oh, there was rigging in 2017. Moses Kuria also confirmed so. And now Ekuru Aukot is going to Twitter is saying so. William Ruto, Musalia Mudavadi have been crying of this rigging. Why is Aukot, or why have we justified that rigging? Is it the new way? Because when you refer to the 2007, it's like we already have as a standard precedence, and it should just be taken normal. Because does it mean that the victim of the rigged person doesn't have anything to do? The victim is inconsequential in this election, because it seems the narrative is running and no one is being asked, wait, come, tell us what about this. Put commas, give us the details. Then, lastly, are we justifying that power is given and not taken, and not won? Many, it's debatable. If you ask me whether Kevin power is given or not, I must say that power is handed over. Power is not given. When you are given, it's yours. But when someone hands over to you, that means there is a transition, there is some sort of inheritance. In the Kenyan space, we still have the inheritance where the person giving you power still have that interest. Yes. If president is supporting candidate X, like now, yes, he's supporting Raila Odinga, he also has an interest. If William Ruto will win, if Uhuru will give him that baton, Uhuru will still have an interest. Because power is hereditary. People don't break from the ranks. Then are these narrative drivers, rigging narrative drivers, immune to facing changes? Because people should answer so that that narrative sinks in. Ladies and gentlemen, do you believe that someone is going to lose the election, is going to win the election, but the win is going to be given to someone else? Or we are going to find a free and fair election and someone is going to win? From where I'm standing is this. I don't know who is going to win this election. But what I know is there is around one winner. There is going to be a winner. But whether there is going to be legitimate questions, that might be legitimacy in terms of maybe county and 50+1, but someone is going to win the election. And I think we are setting a bad precedence. Because at the end of the day, there is more. But who is behind the classified intelligence to Ekuru Aukot? And that is my bold.